Welcome to this new series of my channel, where we are going to be comparing PC builds with Prebuilt PCs at specific price points. Believe it or not, in some cases a PC build makes much more sense than a Prebuilt PC, and in other cases it's actually not that different. For that reason, if you are thinking of buying a Prebuilt PC or a PC build and you can't decide and you have around $1,000 to spend, this video is going to be for you. At the end, you will know if a Prebuilt PC or a PC build is more suitable for you, and it doesn't matter if you're a beginner because I will try to explain everything as simple as possible. You will have the links to all of the Prebuilt PCs and PC builds mentioned down below in the video description. That being said, let's start. First, we're going to take a look on what you can achieve with a PC build at this price point, and actually $1,000 is kind of a weird spot right now because you can get a system that's better for future proofing but not as good in terms of price to performance, but then on the other hand you can get a $1,000 PC that's great for performance right now but not as much for future proofing. So if you want to buy a PC build at this price point, you have these two options, and if you decide that you want a more future proof PC and you want good performance right now but it doesn't have to be the best in terms of price to performance, then I recommend you getting the Ryzen 5 7600 with the RX 6750 XT. I'm not going to get into too much detail about this whole PC because, as I said in the beginning, you will have all the components in the description, but the most important thing that you need to know is that because you get the Ryzen 5 7600, you are in the new AM5 platform, which if you're a beginner, it basically means that down the line you will be able to upgrade the CPU with new AMD CPUs without having to buy a new motherboard. On top of that, you get 32 gigs of RAM, so you will get an amazing PC not only for gaming but also for streaming, and you get a beautiful DIY PC case that in my opinion is one of the best ones in terms of price to performance. In terms of gaming performance, on an 11 game average at 1080p on high to ultra settings, the 6750 XT is able to average 140 FPS, which is a really high number, and then on that same average at 1440p is able to manage 97 FPS on average. And remember, we are talking about games that are high demanding on high to ultra settings. If you want to play easy to run titles, you will be able to play these games at above 240 FPS all times at 1440p resolution pro settings. Now on the other hand, we have the more price to performance option, which is $1,003 when I'm recording this video, and you get the Ryzen 5 5600 alongside the RX 6800 XT. Because you get the 6800 XT, you will be getting a much better gaming performance, especially when it comes to GPU bound games, because the GPU is stronger, but when it comes to CPU demanding titles, the difference is not going to be as big. So in my recommendation, if you want a PC build, is for you to look at your favorite titles and ask yourself if they are more CPU bound or GPU bound, and then make a decision. However, if they are more GPU bound, then this is definitely your best option. On that same 11 game average I mentioned before at 1440p resolution, the 6800 XT was able to manage 130 FPS. That's an insane difference between the 6800 XT and the 6750 XT from the other system. And then at 4K, if you want to start playing at 4K, the 6800 XT on that same 11 game average, high to ultra settings, 4K resolution, is able to manage 70 FPS, so you can play 4K resolution 60 plus FPS on average in most games depending on the settings. But then if you get the other PC with the 6750 XT, at 4K the CPU does not matter as much and you will be below that 60 FPS average benchmark. So as I said at the beginning, if you want something that's more future proof and also your favorite titles are more CPU demanding, the right PC to go with is the one with the Ryzen 5 7600. However, if you want the best price to performance and you play more GPU bound games, then the one with the 6800 XT is going to be your best bet. So that's for PC builds. For Prebuilt PCs, the market is much bigger. So I will explain 3 PCs that I do recommend buying at this price point depending on what you want. First of all, we have the Skytech Azure 2, where you get the Intel Arc A750 and the i5 12400F for $1,000. The Intel Arc A750 is going to be an amazing 1080p GPU, and you can also play at 1440p depending on the game and depending on the settings. Then we have the NZXT Player 1. This one has the RTX 3060 and it's going for $950. And then for the CPU, you get the i5 12400F. If you're new to PCs, the performance of a 3060 is really solid at 1080p, and you can also play at 1440p just like the Intel Arc A750, but you get more VRAM, so that's going to be helpful in terms of the textures if you want to play on ultra settings on the latest AAA titles. And then the other PC I recommend buying is the $850 Victus 15L with the RX 6600 XT. 1080p and the Ryzen 7 5700G. Here you have to make a choice based on whether you're going to upgrade your PC a lot or not, because if you're not going to touch the system at all, then I highly recommend the Victus 15L, because not only is $100 to $150 cheaper than the other PCs I've mentioned, but it's also the one that's going to give you the best performance for gaming, because you get the RX 6600 XT, which is going to be slightly faster than the other GPUs for the other PCs. On top of that, you get more storage than the other systems, so you will be able to download much more games. But if you want to upgrade your system over time and you want to change a bunch of things, I'm talking about GPU, CPU, power supply, all of this stuff, then I would recommend either the NZXT PC or the Skytech Azure. Both are really solid options. I would go with the Skytech Azure 2 because of that Intel Arc A750. You also get AV1 encoding, so you're going to have a better streaming quality. But if you want to go with the NZXT PC, it's a solid choice as well. But if I had to buy a PC myself where I would be upgrading components, it would have been the Skytech one. Now the real question here, which is why I made this video, should you buy a Prebuilt PC here or should you buy a PC build? Well, at $1,000 for a PC build, you're gonna get much faster performance, since if we compare the best GPU on the Prebuilt PCs, which was the one in the Victus 15L, the RX 6600 XT, with the worst price to performance option on the PC build list, which was the one with the 6750 XT, well, the difference in gaming performance is about 30%. So the 6750 XT is going to be around 30% faster in rasterized performance than the RX 6600 XT, and we are not counting the CPU difference as well. So if you're going based off performance, yes, going with a PC build is going to be the better option. You also have to keep in mind warranties and the fact that you have to build it yourself. If you really do not want to go through that process, I think buying a Prebuilt PC at this price point is not a terrible idea. Yes, you're not getting the performance that you get on a PC build, but you still get really solid performance for 1080p and 1440p resolution. If you want to play at 4K, there's no doubt you should go with a PC build. I wouldn't recommend a $1,000 Prebuilt PC for 4K resolution, but if you want to play 1440p, even though I do recommend PC builds for performance, you're getting a really decent performance on the Prebuilt PCs. And then if you want to play at 1080p, I think the difference is even smaller, since at 1080p you will be getting high FPS with both the 6600 XT and 6750 XT, and yes, you get higher performance on the PC builds, but you still get high FPS on the Prebuilt PCs. So in conclusion, if you want the best price to performance PC out there and you are willing to build it yourself, but you are not sure if you want to go with a Prebuilt PC or a PC build, then there's no doubt go with a PC build with any of the two options that I explained before. But if you really have doubts about building a PC yourself, maybe you don't want to mess it up, then going with a Prebuilt PC at this price point is not a terrible idea, especially if you're going to play at 1080p or 1440p depending on the game. If you have a different budget, I highly recommend you asking me for personal PC help. I will be able to guide you through everything, and it doesn't matter if you need a PC build for content creation or you want a Prebuilt PC for streaming. Whatever your need is, I will be able to help you out by choosing the right PC. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.